How's our attendance looking like? All right, I'm gonna get started. So welcome everyone to the first demo. Today I'm gonna introduce the SLP, which is the Supplier Lifecycle Performance. This module is basically is to teach you how to request a supplier. And then once we're done going through this module, we're going to be reviewing the non-catalog, which is today is describe requirement. All right. So everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Log in.
Yes.
Graham crackers? No, right?
Oh, to the other one.
Can I have?
Oops. It's all right. I'll start from there. So
You need to mute yourself.
Hey folks, Neil here. Can I request keep yourself on mute, please? If you have a question, please unmute yourself. Thank you.
Yeah, if you have any questions, just throw them in the chat box. All right, so this is the supplier request form. Here, basically tell you what's the purpose of this form. If you have any questions, just feel free to reach out to purchasing for either New York or Qatar. Basically, this request will be submitted to the purchasing for review. And that's pretty much it. So business of justification for new supplier. So the reason why you want to get a new supplier is either because our current supplier is not able to get the products that you need. So I'm just going to use for today, need gloves. Please select the Weill Cornell campus. So here you have the option for New York and Qatar. Since obviously we're in New York, we're going to choose the New York. Is this request is for a purchase supplier or pay only supplier? So today we'll be using purchasing supplier because you're going to be creating a requisition off of this new supplier. You also got the option for the pay only supplier, which is be handled through eForms. So today I'll choose purchasing supplier. Supplier full legal name. I'm just gonna put JM Test. Medina Co. You also have the option to put the DBA if the supplier has a doing business as. Then you could put the address, Elm Street, 1022. Then you put the city, put New York. For some reason it's not typing that. Hold on. When you ever see this come up, because I know a lot of us have a lot of autofills, this option will not work. You have to go to the drop down. So it's best to type in the name and then choose United States. And then same here, because see if I click on this, it's gonna show up here. Because if I do leave it like that, it's not gonna. It's gonna give you an error. So you have to click on it. Trying to get out of it. There you go. And then the error will disappear. Supplier primary contact will be the sales rep. Then contact email, basically the email for the supplier. The reason why we're asking contact email because once this is approved, the supplier is going to get an invitation from purchasing, basically to enroll themselves into the Ariba network. And then the supplier will basically fill out all the required information that is needed on our end. So I'm gonna use this for now. Contact phone, 646
I'm sorry, can you please mute yourselves? Please mute yourselves, thank you.
Department requester. So right here you have all the departments you're in. I'm just gonna put purchasing. And then double check everything that, you know, that's required on here. Make sure everything's accurate. Once you hit submit, basically this pop-up will appear, and if there's a similar like the name of the company, address, it will tell you this company is already in the system. You could use this vendor. If it's not in the system, just ignore and submit requests, and then it will go to purchasing for review. Neil, did I miss anything?
No, I think you're good. You could probably talk a little bit about the change in process between how it is today, where we use a shopping cart to request for new vendors,
right,
versus how this is going to be, because there are some questions on the chat talking about W9 and when that will come into play.
Okay, so as far as a requisition part, so the way today is you created a requisition shopping cart. You create a shopping cart requisition on our end, and then it goes through. You put an unknown vendor, and then you go through the approvals. Purchaser reviews it, approves it. In tomorrow's world, the way it works is you're gonna basically request a new supplier through the system, through Ariba, and it will come to purchasing for review. The key factor is that, you know, when you're doing this, you need to attach a quote to make sure we're not able to get the products from other suppliers. If we're not able to supply the product from other supplier, then we will continue on with the registration. And once purchasing reviews, the registration is complete from the supplier, basically we'll come back, and then you will get a notification that the supplier will be entered in the system, and a number will be provided. Any questions on that? I can't see the chat.
Thanks, Ori. I think that was, that's exactly what users were inquiring about. So just to reiterate, right, the key difference here is, or I can say the advantage here is, today you as an end user do the legwork of gathering all the information, updating that in your shopping cart, using the unknown vendor, and then sending it over to purchasing. Now with this process, it's kind of segregated a little. So you start with the new supplier request, and once it's approved by the purchasing department, it's on the supplier's end. The onus is on the supplier to provide all the necessary documentation. And once that is all provided, it's like a to and fro thing. Purchasing would go ahead and approve it, and the new supplier gets created. As Jorge was mentioning, you will receive a notification with the details of the new vendor created.
Yeah, I just wanted you to finalize it. But I'm coming back. I got more packages. But
Juan, can you
but I think for this,
Jorge, just a moment. Mo or Praveen or Lucy, if you are the host, could you mute everyone except Jorge and me?
Yeah. So Lucy, if you can give me also, yeah, there you go. As and when we see someone talking, I can also mute.
Thank you, Praveen.
Or hey, quick question. I don't know if you walk through this step where as we are creating, you saw a pop-up, whether there is an existing vendor already in the system. Did you go through that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Okay. I think there was one question on the chat asking, is there email notifications when there is a request that will be created or after the vendor gets approved? Yes, we will switch on the notification. So you will see what is the vendor number that gets created. But in addition to that, there is another question on the W-9 form.
Okay.
Let me check.
So the W-9 form is being supplied by the supplier. Due to legal entities, we're not able to basically have that in the system. So if you do have the W-9 form on hand, you can forward it to us. But the key factor is we need the supplier to supply that W-9 form into the system. So the supplier is going to get the registration, and any W-9, like a W-9 form, they have to send us an email with that form. They can't attach it to, or what they could do is in the system, and upon registration, they could enter the tax ID number, and then we're still able to do the verification, because upon basically approving the vendor profile, once the supplier submits once the supplier submits all the information, we have to do our due diligence. Purchasing has to do our due diligence to basically make sure the tax ID number matches. It also has to go to visual compliance. So and we have to upload that to the profile. So the W-9 technically is not needed as long as the taxpayer ID matches the business name. But we could keep that on hand on our end. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can't see the checkbox for some reason.
Yeah, and Paulin, I think to your question, you are right. Yes, if you are creating a requisition, you don't know what is a supplier. But even before that, we need to know who the supplier is that we are placing the order with, and if it is existing in the system or not. There will be reports out there, or there will be a drop down that you can always see to check if the supplier exists in the system or not, right? But you already started the requisition. Yeah, you can put it on save or save status and create the supplier request form and get that created first, and then go back and edit the requisition. The turnaround time, ideally, I think, Jorge, you wanted to talk about the turnaround time for getting this registration, request to registration complete.
So the turnaround time for the registration, it could be same day. It could be, so purchasing will have to, once we get the request, we submit the invitation. Once we do our due diligence saying, all right, we can't get the items from just such as a supplier, we're gonna send the invite to the supplier. So technically it should be same day for purchasing. Now it's up to the supplier to send the information back to us. And once they submit the registration, then once we get it, it should be same day as well. So it could take a matter of 2 business days, possibly. That'll be the most. But again, it's all up to the supplier. Any other questions? No, all good? All right. I don't know, Praveen or Neil, can you check the chat box? Real clean?
Yeah, Yeah, we are keeping an eye on that. If there's anything, we'll bring it up.
All right, cool. All right, so that is it for supplier requests. I'm gonna go to Got It By Now, and I'll be over here. Let me log out of this real quick. And don't worry, it won't look like this for you guys. Is that we're in testing, so technically, when you want to create a requisition, you basically still go to your shop tile, and the shop tile will, this screen will appear. Give me 1 second, sorry. Oh, right here. There you go. But this will be the same screen you guys will be assessing when upon testing the system. And this will be your home page. So when you click on the shop tile on April 4th, this will be the page that you will be leading against it. So here you have your shop. Here we have your favorites. You could basically create a list for all your favorites or all of the items that you like to purchase frequently. Out of the catalog. That's pretty much it. And then your requests, you're basically able to see all of your requests on here. Everything that you created will be on this page. You can go as far as last one, or you can see all your requests. You can also see your team request. Basically, you could basically create a team in your group, and you will be able to see all the requests. And then your approvals. This person doesn't have any approvals, but like when it comes to purchasing or the DAs or the fund approver, basically they will click on your approvals and it will be located in this field. But I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Neil, it should be in your to-do tile as well, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
So essentially, we will have a dedicated tile for approvals, which will basically get them to this particular screen only. So it's one of the two.
Yep. All right, so, oh, sorry, I went too fast. So here are your tiles. These are for catalogs. Not all suppliers are in here yet, but as you see, some of our suppliers are here, WB Mason, Abcam. We also have Dell. So it's based on categories and commodity codes. So for MRO, then we should have Granger. Well, it's like Tiva and Promega. But Granger will be on here soon because I think we're having a meeting with them. But basically, all your catalog suppliers will be in these tiles. You can also have a search. So let's say if you want to look for like W Mason, instead of clicking on a tile, you can also click on that as well. You could do that as well, and then click on Buy from Supplier. Whenever you see a preferred, these are our preferred suppliers. So we rather for you to go to these suppliers instead of the non-preferred suppliers. Any questions on that?
Hey, George, it's Christina. I have a question.
Sure.
So just to confirm, so the new process is to create purchase orders. I'm assuming both suppliers and non-suppliers, as well as LOCs and whatever type of payment requisition that has purchase order numbers on it. So the only thing basically we're using the old format is with travel reimbursements or those invoices that have already been processed and don't have a purchase order. Is that my understanding? Is it correct to understand that?
That is correct. Yeah. So yes, that is correct. Everything will be used on here. Everything else like payment recs, stuff like that, that will be handled. Well, like the travel reimbursement, that will be handled through eForms, and eForms is not eliminated. Correct, Neil?
Yeah, that's right, Jorge. And I'll just add a couple of bits to that. So essentially today, whatever you do with respect to shopping carts, checking the status of your shopping carts, approvals of the same, and purchase orders, you use a system called SRM today, Supplier Relationship Management. All that functionality will now be replaced with this system. Everything else, payment requisitions and all, remain as is. There is no change to that. But anything to do with shopping carts, approvals, purchase orders would be right here, including the new vendor creation. And just another quick note is you will see a lot of reference to request here or requisitions. So in the Ariba world, the old shopping cart is termed as purchase requisition. So you will likely hear Jorge refer to purchase requisition. It's nothing but a shopping cart.
Correct.
And one other question somebody had in the chat was about team shopping carts. I think Anne was asking about that. The functionality remains just the same, Anne. In fact, with this particular functionality, you can even create multiple teams, and you can switch the team functionality on all the time. That way, you don't have to really set it as a team cart every time for every requisition or every cart. So that is an added feature available here.
I asked because my supervisor wants every single one of my shopping carts to be viewable by myself, of course, and 3 others. So every single one of my carts has to be a team cart. So that's what my question was. So that's doable, correct?
Right. So in your you can actually set it that have the team shopping cart functionality on all the time. So that way you don't have to really toggle anything back and forth.
Wonderful. So I can save it or whatever, but for every single cart. Okay.
That is correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome. One other question from the chat, I think Abigail Nixon was asking about preferred suppliers. So yes, we will have a bunch of suppliers, preferred suppliers available. They are very closely tied to the commodity codes or the product categories that are associated with that. So a new feature, and you will see when Jorge starts creating the requisition, is when you start creating that, and if it matches a commodity code for which we have a preferred supplier, it's going to give you the option at the bottom stating, hey, these are the vendors available. So it's just an added intuitive feeling for the users to know that these are the preferred relationships we have with our vendor base at this time.
Hey, Neil, it's Christina again. So then another question. So then what about P-card allocations? I'm assuming those will still remain the same.
That is correct. So P-card will not be part of this yet. It will be the same allocation screen and the same way you access that today.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Thanks, Jorge. So yeah, this is how the preferred vendors would show up. And the whole idea of this interface is, as intuitive and as guided as possible. So as you can see, anytime you create the right, start a requisition and you use the commodity code, it's going to give you those results.
So you will have all these options on here. We have tons of commodity codes. So whenever you open, supply.
Yeah, so that is a big change this time around, folks. So earlier we had a limited set of categories. Now, as Jorge was just displaying, we have we have something called UNSPAC codes. It's like a standard codification, and you can pick and choose to the lowest level possible. And the advantage of doing that is we can actually have preferred relationships at that particular level, as well as from a reporting standpoint in the future, you would be able to get more detailed, more granular reports as and when needed.
Yeah, and just and you know, a lot of the commodity codes also are linked to you know, to Abby's group, Abigail Nixon. So if it has to be reviewed by EHS, it would get routed to EHS for review. So all that mapping is getting done on the back end. But yeah. All right. Any other questions besides that?
Just a quick question. With the mapping, will that include the radiation safety as well?
Yes.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
So the existing workflow will operate just as is. If it is an IT supply, then the IT approval workflow would get kicked in. If it's radioactive, EHS, the existing, whatever is as is, that will be the same way in the new process as well.
Great. The other part is, I know Patricia's been pinging me recently and I really appreciate it, but what about international contracts for imports and exports?
Oh, Jorge, you want to take that?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Okay, let's discuss offline then, please.
Yeah, we'll discuss offline.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Okay, so let me go back. Sorry. So basically, today's where a describe requirement in Ariba would be request a non-catalog item. Again, you could create a team. You can also request behalf of the other person if the other person is not available. So I'll request a non-catalog, JM test last supplies. Again, as Neil mentioned, when you select the commodity code, your preferred suppliers will appear. If it's none of these suppliers, no worries. So description will be need lab coats. And so the quantity, 5, unit price would be $250. Now, I know today people put the entire amount in describe requirement, and then they put the unit price as 1, and then they'll put USD on here, but I think we took that option out. Yeah, we did. Yeah, so you can no longer do that. So everything has to be itemized per the quote. And if it's 15 lines, sorry, you gotta put the 15 lines in there. So then you click add to cart. It will appear on here. You could also add multiple carts at the same time if you want. Like if you have different purchases, that's fine. Everything will appear on here. Let's say if you got 5 carts. So you could put 5 carts and then you put checkout. And then the need by date is basically will be set to, you could put 2 days if you need it next week, or you could choose the date that you need to choose for the need by date. Another new feature for Ariba is we decided, because we've been having a lot of complaints that, you know, invoices are getting paid before services or goods are received. So you have the option for to review the invoice before it's paid. So I put yes. So what will happen is that in the system, the way when the supplier is registered, the supplier receives the PO. Once he receives the PO, he will submit an order confirmation. Once you get the order confirmation, he will submit an invoice. Usually the invoice gets routed to AP. AP pays the invoice. In this case, as I put yes, the invoice would reroute it back to you for review. And technically, it will be like the fund approver. The fund approver will review it and gives it the okay, and then the invoice gets submitted to the to AP for payment. Any questions on that? Did I miss anything, Neil?
No, I think you got it right. So just one question. Actually, I'll let you finish this, and then you're going to jump into the catalog part of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll talk about the difference between catalog and non-catalog when you go there.
Okay.
Thanks.
But catalog is tomorrow, though.
Oh yeah, catalog tomorrow. Sorry.
We can hold to that question. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that case, and in case we forget that, I think someone in the chat was asking the difference, and I think Praveen has addressed that briefly. So the difference is very similar. So catalog is anything which you basically place an order in SideQuest or Jagger today. So that would be our catalog orders. And the look and feel is going to be different, but the functionality behind is going to be just the same. And non-catalog is the same as described requirement.
Question. I'm sorry. Yeah. You lost me on one little thing before. Jorge, you mentioned currently line of credit. Yes, we reverse the quantity dollar amount USD instead of EA. So now that will not happen. But here, I think it's this one. You use it as an example, lab coats, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but this is not a line of credit, right? You got me confused on this. Because normally lab coat, at least what I've done, I create a line of credit for the entire year.
Right. Yeah, because the lab coats you get a service, correct? And then image first or you.
Well, no. So if I'm doing lab coat, wait a sec. I'm doing with a line of credit, it has to be materials, no?
Yes. So the line of credit is separate.
You got me confused because you were using lab coats, but this is not a line of credit that you're doing.
No, it's not. This is an itemized requisition.
All right, because I never order lab coats sporadically. I only do it as a line of credit. Right. Okay, so you'll get to that. Okay.
Yeah, I just put that as an example.
Okay, thank you.
I don't mean to throw you off, Annie.
Yeah, I was like, what? Okay, thank you.
All right, I'm gonna put gloves.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
No problem. All right, so now you choose the vendor supplier, and then click browse all. Once you keep using the system, your common suppliers will be on the drop-down list. So no worries on that end. So then I'll use, I'll click USA Scientific. And then I'll go to the accounting. So just an FYI, supplier part ID number is the same in today in described requirements called product ID. Somebody said something?
Oh, you got it? Oh, did you? Oh, she didn't scan it? No, I got it.
Somebody.
Praveen to our rescue.
All right, so in described requirement today is product ID number. In Ariba will be supplier part number. So you will put this number on here based on the quote that you get. Count type, you have expense and capital. This will be an expense. And then the account assignment will be fund or WBS. If it's a fund, you'll go straight to the fund section, and then you click on basically the fund center that applies to you. You could also search for the fund by number if you know the number, or if you know the name. You can also go by that as well. Same for as WBS. So when I click on WBS, another field will appear. The most common used that if I'm the requester, the drop down will be here for the end user. If you want to locate for it, same goes for here. You could just type in the number or the name, and then it will give you the option. Right here is no data. There's no data per person. But did I miss anything? Any questions on that before I go on to the other ones? No? All right. And then here.
Sorry, George, I have a question.
Yeah.
So wouldn't the majority of quotes be considered expenses? What is the other option? I'm sorry, I didn't get to see that part.
The other option was capital.
And by capital, you mean?
So capital is usually for
major projects.
Are these the things that are basically above 10,000, which we have to submit that justification or?
Correct.
Would we still have to do that in this scenario?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you do. Anything over 10,000 will base. Well, as far as the capital expense, I'm not sure how usually the capital expense is like for like assets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that will be considered, capital. And expenses.
What about equipment?
Huh?
I'm sorry. What about equipment, like scientific equipment, which can be
right? Yeah, that's what I mean. Yes.
Okay. No, but Christina's question was: so if it's over 10 grand, does it make it capital or not? Right? I think that's what you asked.
Confused me a little bit, but probably yeah.
So wait, I'm sorry. So what if it's 10 grand plus? Is that considered capital? Because now I'm confused.
I'm not 100% sure. Neil or Praveen?
Hi, this is Yasmin. I think about 5K is capital.
Okay.
Regardless of whether it's lab supply or scientific equipment or whatever. So
scientific equipment, 5K, about 5K, more than 5K.
Is capital. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yasmin.
Jorge, quick question. If I have a multiple line items, how can I copy fund and apply all?
How can you copy fund?
It would be copy change all in the current.
Yeah. How can I do in this Ariba?
Yeah, you can do that. Right there, yeah.
When you go to manage details, you're able to see, so basically anything you change on here will reflect to the body for every line item. So if you select the WBS here or the fund, everything will get reflected to each line item. So let's say we have 10 line items, everything will be reflected to each line item.
So then, George, to add on to Yasmin's comment, so then let's say we have 10 line items, right? And it reflects it on all. But then all of a sudden, 1 or 2 lines, let's say you're requested to change it to something else. Do we go into the individual lines to change that, or?
So you will go into the individual line item to change that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so every line item, you see it says item 1. So every line item will be item 2, item 3, item 4, like that.
Thank you.
So Jorge, one input. I don't know if you showed the check option on the top of this requisition. So it's good that anytime we submit a requisition, always good to click on that check, which actually does the budget check if associated with grants. And at the same time, if the grants are not valid or the grants expired, it does find out and notify the requisitioner that the grant is not ready to be used, or it expired, something like that.
Hey, Praveen, may I ask you a question?
Yes.
Because I just want to clarify about capital expenses. So far as I know, capital expenses refer to equipment and projects like renovation, for example. So if I buy costs for more than $5,000, so your guys saying that automatically become a capital expense?
No.
Because it doesn't make sense to me. Expense is expense. Capital, it means that we are purchasing, let's say, either equipment or signing up something like a fund reservation, let's say for a capital, like renovation of offices or something like that, right?
Correct, because usually the capital, usually it's capital planning that use this only. So, but technically, you're right, Anna. It's technically just based on the assets, you know.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I just want to clarify because I believe a lot of people got confused. So it's like if I would like to purchase something over 5,000, I have to first of all identify what it is. Either it's expense or a capital. Either it's equipment or some type of project or office renovation, something like that. Okay.
So it depends on your. Depends on your capex or opex expense. So if you know that the requisition you're trying to put in is related to the capex, we recommend you to use a capital in the dropdown. But if it is related to operational expense, so use expense.
Correct. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Just another quick clarification. Irrespective of what you choose, the process remains the same. It's just an additional choice that is given to you, which hopefully you can use it for reporting later on. Just wanted to get it out there.
Where was I? Accounting. All right, shipping. So you're able to choose the ship to locations, where it pertains to. You can search for the name, street, city, state, and postal code or country. And then you will have the option. So, as defaulted to 575. Also, attachments. You can also put comments. Basically, your comments would be, to share with the supplier or internally. That's the way it is. Like in today, you have the vendor text box or the internal note. This would be almost the same. It's the same field. Attachments. You would basically upload your quote. Whenever you get to, for example, I just want to do an example out here. So let's say if it's over 10,000. Well, this is a preferred supplier. Let me choose a different supplier. So whenever you get over 10,000, you're also gonna get a notification. Total cost exceeds 10,000 as per global procurement policy. 3 suppliers are required to bid, or the sole source form. Please specify the source of professional that you work with for this request. And then you put the name on there, and then it will get routed. Then you have to attach, but that'll be a whole nother session. Any questions on that so far?
I have a question on here. If I have to split the cost for 3 different fund number, where would I put the percentage? Because I know the old way was percentage. Is it the same way now?
Yes. So split accounting.
Got it. Okay.
Go on here. Sorry, I didn't go over that one. I missed that one. Basically, you choose how much percentage you want to use. So it would basically give you these 2 fields here. So if you want to use 50%, and then 50% on here, you're more than welcome to. Then you select the WBS that you want to split the expense with.
How about I have 4? I mean, it depends on the fund number. So right now you're just showing me 2. Is there another?
Yeah, you could do more. So you
okay, add more. Okay.
And you keep adding.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yep. And then you keep going. And then when you're doing the percentage, make sure it's 100%, because if not, you get an error and you won't be able to continue. That helps?
Yes, thanks a lot, Jorge.
No problem. All right. Yep, I'm back to 1. Okay. And that's pretty much it. Then once you submit the request, you hit submit. And then something happened here. Oh, forgot to include the number. See, try and error. Let's see. Yeah, it's not working.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why, because I'm using, oops, hold on. Sorry, guys.
Jorge, I think we have some backend work in progress. Can you please use a fund? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. No, I had it on WBS and fund together. That's what's giving me the error. Here we go. It should be good.
Good catch.
Yep, perfect. So now, basically, the card is for. Oh, sorry. Let me go back to it. So now the cart has been submitted for approval. Purchasing will approve it. Then comes the budget approver, and then it will be approved. The workflows will be the same as it currently is today, so nothing will change. Here you will see the ship to, basically where the item shipping to, charge to. You can also go into details if you want to see the requester's name, who requested it. Also, it will tell you the line items from the supplier and the history. So this would be new as well. So I know usually people end users will go to related documents and see the history or approval. Actually, you will see everything in here. So in this history box, you will see when the requisitioner basically submitted the request, when purchasing approved it, when the registration was sent to the supplier, when all that stuff. Anything that's related to this requisition will appear. An invoice, all the information. Did I miss anything, Neil?
No, I think you got it covered. Yep.
Okay, cool.
What's the difference between real user and user?
So Jorge initially mentioned about the shop on behalf functionality, right? So that's something new that we have. So you could be creating on behalf of someone. So whoever you're creating on behalf of would become the real user, and you would become the user who's actually entering the transaction.
And do you need to be authorized to do that, or anyone can just go in and submit a shopping order on behalf of somebody?
So let me give you this example. If it's like a team shopping cart, and if it's your team and you have included your say colleague as part of the team member, then you would become the real user because you are the owner of the team, and the other user, whoever is in the team who you've added, would become the other users. Sorry, did that answer your question? The second question?
And just another question is, in terms of the listing, would it be someone's seaweed or the name, or how do we know if someone else is looking at this? How do we know who the user is? Is that someone's seaweed or?
Great point. It will most likely be the first and last name, but let us get back to you on that.
Okay.
Because ideally, we don't want to show seaweeds. We want to show the first and the last names everywhere.
Okay, thank you.
Question, you're not referring to the end user recipient on the ship to label, correct? That's not who you're talking about. That's something else, correct?
Now, also talking about on looking at the screen where it's a user, real user, and it's at all these.
Right, but this real user has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the recipient end user of the order. Like in my case, or my researcher scientists. That has nothing to do with them as far as users. They are recipients, so that's something else, correct?
Right, this is just who's actually putting through the transaction.
Okay.
Just so you need to trace back and ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Jorge, it's me, Luis Franco. Quick question.
Yeah.
In SideQuest, when we're done with the shopping cart, we have the option to print it out. We have the same option here because we usually send the shopping cart to the requester.
You mean for the approver?
No. When we're done with a shopping cart, right? In SideQuest? Yes.
He means the print preview, George.
The print preview, correct.
The print preview. So actually, I'm gonna show you something. I'm not gonna go through the approvals, but because I gotta go back and forth on the screen. So when you basically whenever you so you see this, once the PO is completed, you're gonna see this number up here on the line item, right? So you're gonna click on view, right? And you see all this here. So, but this is just a detail for your end. But if you wanna print preview, you're gonna click on view in SAP Ariba. You're gonna click print, and it looks different now, but it's gonna look more different later on. But
this is when the order is approved already. What about previously?
You said George, that this is when a PO is done, but what about when it's the shopping cart itself? Some of us tend to send that to our requesters as proof.
As a proof, correct.
That's the question.
Yeah, I don't think there's Christina.
Which is what a lot of us use now. Like that's how we keep track of a lot of things.
Exactly.
Print every single shopping cart and the PO.
Yeah, we could take a note of that because we don't have that option here.
Yeah, if that's something huge for a lot of us. Like this is, I mean, we create so many on a daily basis that it's hard to just go back and say, you know, well, I created 3 shopping carts of $5,000 each. Like that's not a way for us. It's not realistic for us to keep.
And that's the way that we confirm to the end user that we place.
Exactly. Yeah. That we're doing the work actually. So I think that's a major feature that needs to be added, that we're able to print the shopping cart.
You do know once let's say you create it and the next approver online will get an email stating that they have to approve. And it's going to show up in the queue. So I'm not sure why you have to print it out and send it over.
No, because sometimes, George, so realistically speaking, sometimes, you know, we are requesting this for like a lab. The approver, I mean, that's fine. The approver is the approver, right? But sometimes we send it to the lab because they want, for whatever reason, they want some confirmation that the work is being done, confirmation for whatever reason. So I think a lot of us have been used to, you know, using this as an easier way for us to find as proof of something.
Exactly.
Like we each have our own mechanisms.
Yeah, so, and that's a way to track. Like, let's say, Jorge, you know, we don't receive the whole entire order. And then user called me. That's the way that he told me, you know, this is the order that you placed. I didn't receive item in line 3. So that's the way that we go and look for it.
Can I add a response here? So whoever is creating the requisition, they will also be receiving an email that you placed an order with this supplier, and this is your item details. Everything that you have on the PR or requisition should be in your email, right? Is there something you can forward to that lab personnel, that email, which has all the details?
Let me ask you another question. What about if we add the end user as a part of the team? He will receive any notifications?
If you are a requisitioner, if you are an approver, if you are a watcher, right, which is like, let's say you want someone to just watch, get all the notifications. Yes, you'll get all kinds of emails. Unless you do not want to receive emails, every individual can go to their own settings and switch off the email notifications. But if you want all the emails to come through, you can switch it on.
Praveen, but that's only if somebody has access to.
Access, exactly. End users don't have access.
No. Hold on, guys. So the functionality is available. So let's not even try for workaround. Jorge, if you could go back to the original screen, you can save this cart if it's in progress. And if you could go to the other actions tab, the tile, scroll down. Common action. And see if you could click on search purchase. Or Ariba B and I, the third tile in the second row. So here, if you click on any purchase requisition, if like on my documents or at the bottom, if you see that. So you have a print option there, the fourth button at the top.
Perfect.
So not here. This would actually give the print job. So if you could cancel it, the 4 buttons, yeah, that one. So it will give you a print preview, and then you can take a snapshot.
Neil, I think this is exactly what we were speaking about, you know, which is the way for us to see once we create a shopping cart, you know, how can we print that to save it? I think this was it, right, Louis?
Yeah, that will be helpful.
Can you go back to it? To where you...
Yeah, can you show us one more time how to get it?
Yeah, just backtrack, please.
So, yeah, so for the purposes of your testing, this would be the way, but it's not in stone yet.
Okay.
But so just to give you an idea, the guided buying where you were seeing tiles, it's more user-friendly. So this system here is going to be your landing page. But anytime you need to search a more robust search, like for example, if you want to print and all that, you need to click on Ariba B&I. We might have to rename that, but for now, for your testing, you could click on this and it would take you back to a place where you can see all your requisitions. It's like your advanced search. Here is where you would be brought in.
Yeah, so this will replace your advanced search tile.
Right. I'm agree with Gabriela too.
And then here will be your print option. The same way, once everybody approves, you're able to see the PO number and be able to print it from here as well.
Gabriela asked a good question in the chat.
Can't see the chat box.
She says, it would be better if it could be generated once the shopping cart is submitted instead of returning to a home screen. Is it possible to add a button that generates a printout once a cart is submitted? Like the print preview currently.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
Let us get back to you. I've made a note of that, Gabriela and Em. I will, we will quickly do some checks and see how we can get a print preview from there.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right. Any other?
Hi there, Neil.
questions?
Neil, this is Sue Hansen. How are you guys?
Hi, Sue.
Hi, Sue. Long time.
So I just had a quick question. I'm hearing that this feature replaces the advanced search. Does that also replace the shopping cart status? So you'll see everything in that one place? And will there be a tile like the way it is currently? You just showed the tiles.
Correct. So there are 2 ways of doing that. From the tile, from that particular interface, the information could be a little limited. But for all practical purposes, you'll get information as to who approved it, what was done, and all of that. But for a more robust, more a connected search engine, if you want to look at the invoice associated with that, this would be another option for that. But Jorge, if you can go back to the guided buying page, and if you go to the top, your requests, the 3rd tab at the top.
On the top.
No, on the top.
Oh, your request.
Yeah, right. Thank you. So here, if you see, it will give you all this information in a very, it's a different interface. It's more user-friendly. If you have any quotes, you have different tabs at the top. You can also do searches. For example, Jorge, if you could click on your requests, drop down the first one. So you can see which is your team one, which is the one that you have created, the timestamp, or you can just give a request ID. So all that information that you need would be available for you here, like a shopping cart status. But anything in more detail you need, then you might have to switch over there.
So let's say
so
you
are
want
those
to see...
clickable? Are those clickable to see, like to actually open it? What do we see when you click on it?
Yeah, click on one of the items, right?
Yeah.
One of the items that is actually listed there.
Yeah, so the items are listed here. So whenever you see, whenever you click on it, it was in the last month, you see all of the items that were issued by you.
Yeah, if you click on that, it will take you.
Is it clickable? Can you open it?
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
Okay.
So when you click on it, this is what it appears. So we'll see all of your, and then you also have the history on here as well.
Mm-hmm. But if you want to do a search on the PO that is not created by you or requisition that not created by you, you cannot see it here, right? So that's where Neil was mentioning that advanced search. So if you go back to the main homepage on the here, so under if you scroll down, Jorge, common actions. So there is search purchase order, right? If you click on that, this is more advanced way of searching, right? You can put in the requisition ID or PO and like order ID is on the left side and requisition ID is on the right side, right? So you can do this advanced search here if it's not created.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. Thank you.
By order ID, do you mean PO number or
PO number? Yeah.
And then also, from this screen, are you able to make edits, or do you have to go to a different screen to do that?
If you are a requisitioner, absolutely, you can search your own requisition from here, and that from there you can open that and click on edit. But obviously, you cannot edit some created like card requisition created by someone else.
Okay, thank you.
So just to clarify, right?
I'm sorry, if you need to look for a purchase order, now the old way we used to have the shopping cart number to find out if a PO was created. Can you do this on this particular format here?
You can do it here, but you can also do it on the other screen. So Jorge, if you could switch back to guided buying. So what I feel is 9 out of 10 times, you don't really need to go to that screen. If you go to if you can go back to the status screen again, Jorge, here in guided buying. Your requests. No, not that. Yeah, third tab. Thank you. So if you look at the third tab at the top, right, you have your requests last 3 months. And if you drop down the request ID, the next one. So you have all this information available here. You can search by supplier, you can search by purchase order number, or the requisition of the shopping cart number.
Okay.
So I think
got it.
for all
yes,
practical purposes, everything would be here, but from a print option, we'll have to just explore further and see if we can have the same here. That way you don't have to go toggle between 2 different systems.
So the Neil, sorry, Maritza. So then Neil, will the shopping cart number now be called request ID number? I think this is where we're also getting a little confused. The term itself, meaning it would now replace request ID number.
Correct. It will have, it's called a purchase requisition. So anytime in the system you see a PR, P as in Peter and R as in Rati. So PR, that would be a purchase requisition. It's same as shopping cart.
So that will be the new number then. No longer the 12 digits that it used to be before, or whatever number of digits it was before.
That is correct, yes.
All right, thank you.
Welcome.
All right, can you click on that PO number? Any of that PO number that highlighted in blue?
Sure.
Is it the same? It doesn't look like the same right now, right? Well, the vendor accepts that PO if we need to email them the hard copy?
Well, technically you shouldn't be doing that, but
because, you know, sometimes when the orders are urgent and when we call the vendors, they say like, oh, we did not receive a PO. Then I go and find the PO and I email them or fax them, then the order will come through. In that case, if we need to send them a PO, how will they accept this?
So I can take that up. So yeah, we're working on the form aspect of it. So this is just a user interface for your benefit.
Okay.
But when you actually do a print preview or a print of the same, the form should look exactly or the way it is today. That would be our goal at the end of the day.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
I know it may look like this, but it doesn't look like this.
Okay, thank you.
So this looks horrible just towards us. Basically. Basically. I mean, it just looks like a whole lot of, like, you know, that confirmation when you get a fax? This is what this looks like.
With,
But this is not what the end user will see,
but
right?
I am before that. You would.
So this is what the end user would see. So what you would be doing, what you would be seeing are basically is what the end user, you are the eyes and the ears for the end user now when you begin your testing.
So they would see the same thing, the same format we see is what you're saying.
So this screen, what you're seeing, yes, but when they do a print preview, it's a work in progress, this one here. So we will try to match it to how it is today, or at least get all the information elements that are needed for you to send up.
Right. You will also have the terms and conditions on attached to this as well, which is not on here, but that's why. But it will look the way it is today. That's how it's gonna be tomorrow. So no worries on that end.
Yeah. Jorge, there is a question here asking if you can show how to edit requisitions, which is already not at status. Maybe you want to open any requisition which is already not at status and edit.
Sure. Let me just do this one then. So here, where is it at? Where's the edit option? Hold on, I'm sorry. Yeah, it should be on here.
Yeah, so are you in the P or requisition?
No, I'm in the requisition.
Let's park it for now. Gabby will get back to you. I think we have the option. It could be a security setting.
Yeah.
Jorge, this is already in order status. How can we edit the requisition if it's already ordered?
So
maybe it has to be in a submitted status, right?
Right. So let's say, for example, it's already ordered, and you caught the supplier on time. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not able to edit this.
You can able to edit when it's in submitted status, like the first one.
Yeah, the first one I could edit.
Yeah, and that's very important for us to see. I mean, sometimes we get things pushed back quite a few, often. So it would be great to see.
So here's the deal. There is again a little bit of a change in process here. Today we use the purchase order change notice, right? The POCN form that you email to purchasing, and then purchasing goes and changes the PO. So in the Ariba world, what will happen is, and to answer the question, even when the purchase order has gone out, you would still have the ability to go and edit an already ordered requisition / shopping cart. And what it does is it creates a new version of the same. And it'll be routed for approvals. And once it is totally approved, the new version of purchase order is created and is sent to the supplier again. So that is the reason why we have the edit option available for updating the purchase order if it needs to be updated.
And that won't create any confusion with the vendor and duplicate the order? Because my experience has been that if you send something to the vendor and you send something else, at most of the time they duplicate the order unless somehow they manually will change it.
So I'm currently meeting with these suppliers on a daily basis. So right now, most of the suppliers are not accepting any changes due to the fact for duplication orders. So if any change needs to be made against the order, you will have to submit a new requisition. And then if you want to cancel that current order, you will have to call in and cancel that order or email your sales rep. As far as changes, my recommendation is if you need to change like a WBS or a fund, that's fine. We could do that on you could do that on your end. But as far as if you want to, let's say you place the order right now, and an hour later you want to add more to that order, my recommendation is just create a whole new order, not just change it. Because
I'm just commenting on the feature that now we're allowed to make changes even after the order has been submitted. That I'm just trying to understand that functionality now that's being offered to us in Ariba.
So the functionality is there, and we just need to test that all. But from what I know, it depends on what you're changing in the PO. If you're changing the text, or if you're changing, say you're correcting a typo, it will not consider that as a change version to be sent out to the vendor. But if you're touching the quantities or the prices or the vendor notes, then it clearly indicates that, okay, this is a change that the vendor is expecting and sends it out to the vendor. Now, does it highlight the changes? Does it clearly indicate what's changed or what's not is something that we need to test further. But so we will test that and get that thing ready for you. But from a purchasing policies or whatever the department decides on, if change orders are something that is not encouraged, then maybe we will not be using this feature. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So one of the scenario, I think, to change the PO, I'm reading this chat, is to add shipping expenses right after the PO was sent out. It could also be that you might want to change the WBS from year 1 to year 2 grant, right? Yeah, there might be scenarios where you might want to edit the PO, but yeah, I think as we will come back, with more details and with more testing how to do that.
I have a question. Currently, I've been told if the PO doesn't have enough funding due to the shipping cost, I've been told in the past I don't have to do a PO change notice or anything because the current PO system does allow for additional monies to be charged against the PO specifically for shipping. Correct? That's what I've been told. Now, in this new system, how does the PO allow for shipping expenses that we won't know what they are?
I haven't tested that option yet, Annie. But you are correct. AP has an allowance. They are allowed because sometimes the suppliers don't put the shipping costs on the quote. So when the shipping cost comes into the system in an OCR, they they add the shipping costs on their end. But we haven't tried that with Ariba as of yet. So I haven't. I don't know, Praveen or Neo.
Yeah, we will have to test. I think we talked about it where we are allowing some kind of tolerance to accommodate this shipping cost, which might come on the invoice and it's not on the PO. But we will test and, in the next 2 meetings, we will bring it up again.
But just to understand the query, right? So the PO has already gone to the vendor and now you need to update the shipping cost. Is that correct?
Yes, a lot of time when we make purchase, especially with laboratory supplies, in the catalog, it doesn't give you the cost of the shipping and handling. It's when they ship it that charge is added to the invoice.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be submitting a change request for shipping costs because AP has an allowance.
Right.
No, we don't submit it. So when I buy the reagent and it's
right.
$500 a box, when the invoice comes in, on top of it will be the shipping cost. But
right.
AP will pay it. I don't have to do anything. I just get billed for that. And then I know that's a little bit higher. And then when I look at the detail, I'll see that it's because of the shipping costs.
Right.
But we don't have to do anything on our end.
No,
the same process will continue even tomorrow. I don't believe that will be impacted. But two things here, right? If it is a catalog order and if the vendor is charging any delivery charges, I think you should bring that to purchasing department's attention. Because from the discussion that we are having, the cost of shipping and handling is baked in the product price. Jorge or Chris, I think that is something I think we should look at, right?
Yes, I agree. Yeah, because I need to know what they charge in shipping against, whether who's the supplier is.
Or one of them is Thermo Fisher Scientific. They charge the shipping charges. Like Fisher, LDP, VWR, they don't charge, but the others, they do have a shipping charges on all the items.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially the Life Technologies, they do charge a lot. Sigma, yes. BD, yes. AppCam, everyone except these three, VWR, LDP, and Fisher.
Okay. All right. I'll go back.
I think Thermo Fisher Scientific has a limit. I think if you order more than in one shopping cart, if it's more than $300, they don't charge. But if it's less than $300, even though you order like $50 of reagent, they charge you $60 of shipping.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something about Thermo. You should be utilizing VWR instead of Thermo.
But what happens when the researcher emails you? Okay, no, I'm thinking of a credit card. When they email you the transfer card, forget that. But what she's saying is true, because on the Thermo Fisher order confirmation, every single one has the shipping and handling expenses.
But if your shopping cart is more than $300, then you don't see a shipping charges. But if it's less than that, yes, they do charge. And sometimes you don't find that item in VWR. Yes, we do try to look onto VWR, LDP, and others, but sometimes you don't find them.
So
sometimes within the laboratory, there's specific brand or specific item that we need to purchase. So it's not like it's a generic item that you can, if anybody offers it, you buy it. It's specific to the lab, the protocol, and what research project we're working on.
I also send screenshots of VWR to my researchers, saying, okay, you asked for Thermo Fisher. I couldn't find it. I found this in VWR. Is it acceptable? Sometimes they say yes, other times no, because it's made specifically with I don't know what, because I'm not a scientist. So what they were saying is absolutely true. I cannot make that choice. I cannot choose VWR over Life, Thermo Fisher.
Right.
The researcher has to approve it.
So this would be a whole nother meeting with these supplies, but just an FYI. So whenever if there's an item that you have that VWR doesn't carry and Thermo Fisher carries it and there's a shipping cost added to it, do not process that. Send me an email or send purchasing an email, and then we're able to email Stephanie, and Stephanie could waive that.
But George, that's the problem. Sometimes we won't know until the bill comes in.
Until you get the order confirmation.
You see, on our end, we only see the price value, let's say of, I don't know, whatever particular item. We only see those prices. We won't see the shipment until, even at that, even if we do by opportunity see the invoices, sometimes we won't know until the end and the PO comes in insufficient funds.
I have one in my hand, just an example, Life Tech Thermo Fisher PO dated.
Life Tech is different. So, I'll talk to Smitty about that. Just forward that to me. And again, this is off topic from what we're doing today. Yeah, just email me your concerns because I'm actually meeting with them, and I'll get back to everyone on that. I'll do the best I can, guys.
Thank you, George.
Jorge, this is a Thermo Fisher order. A Thermo Fisher, but the PO says Life Tech.
Yeah, so Thermo Fisher, is an umbrella. Life Tech is just an entity.
Okay.
Yeah, it's different. Life Tech deals with like equipment and stuff like that. Thermo Fisher deals with lab supplies. In that state. All right. All right, back to got it by any other questions?
George, if you could just show us real quick the screen where for a submitted item, nothing that has a purchase order, but let's say we just created a shopping cart like 5-10 minutes ago and we forgot we need to make an edit to something within that shopping cart. How can we do that?
So I don't have the option to edit, but technically you will go to your request and you click on your request and there will be an edit button somewhere here. And then you're able to make the change. For some reason, I don't have the option.
Yeah, it should be on the right side corner where it'll say, do you want to withdraw it or do you want to edit it? So it's as simple as that. But we'll just follow up on this and see what's going on. Somehow that's missing here.
Thank you.
Correct. Can we able to see a list of approvers here after we submit the shopping cart?
So you're able to see the list of approvers on here. When you drag your mouse to the name, you see all the people.
Okay. How about the grants approver or the, okay.
It will be on here as well.
Right.
You also have the option in this section as well. So when you click on here, hold on. When you click on the requisition, you will see, when you click on it, you see all the approvers on here.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? No, we're all good. Can't see the chat box. I don't know. Praveen, we good?
Yes, I think there's lots and lots of questions. We will save this just to make sure that we addressed all your questions. Not sure if we did. So again, we will make sure we copy this and revert back to each of the user with the response.
Yeah. And this recording, I believe, is going to be shared with everybody, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So we will put this recording on the Ariba website that was shared with the team already, right? Again, we will have to see, we will have to work with the team to get this recording on the website and then share the link.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.
And tomorrow will be another session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great
Thank
day,
you.
everyone.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Oh.